Lesson 7 in the School of Tyrants. The goal is control. So what's fascinating, when you look at the School of Tyrants, you'll discover the word means tyrant. When you look at the root word of that, it comes from this word, connected to this word, that sounds like kyrios in the Greek, and it's often translated Lord or Master. But when you look in the definition of the Strongs, it also talks about how it's described as a controller, or one who controls people. That's their goal. So let me give an example of that. Again, we're using the legislature in Washington State to illustrate what tyrants do. In the COVID pandemic, how long did the governor of Washington State exercise his, quote, emergency powers? Well, it went long beyond what many others did. It went over 970 some odd days. And even the news was noting how aggressive his approach was. And they would use things like they wanted to control the media. They wanted to violate our First Amendment rights. That's why they called churches non-essential. And this didn't come from my governor. It came from the governor in California. But they even tried to tell the churches, don't sing, don't gather together. Well, let me tell you something. The scripture tells us we should need to gather together even so much more as we see the day approaching. And the truth is, there is no clause, no place in the Constitution to limit our First Amendment rights because of a, quote, emergency. Because you see, these rights are God-given rights, but what the tyrants seek to do, they seek to position themselves as God. Hence, that's why they act like tyrants, because they're setting themselves up as a little God themselves, because they want to be the master and Lord. And therefore, they will seek to undermine your rights to speak the truth. They will seek to control the narrative. And we saw that, for example, just last week in the greater Seattle area, we saw the Christians gathering together to defend children, celebrate families, God's design. They went out and were handing out bicycles and doing haircuts. And then Antifa shows up, tosses balloons of urine and things like that, attacks the police, ends up getting 23 of those arrested. And then the Seattle Times comes out and says of the Christians, talks about their fascist gathering. It's amazing watching the amazing hypocrisy. You talk about blind hypocrisy. Anyway, again, the goal is control. If they can't actually do it, they're going to seek to lie about it. And that also is part of the stratagem that they use.